Joe Tessitore and Rod Gilmore here in Provo as we're ready to start the fourth. So far, Utah State controlling things.
Keaton throwing the ball very well with different receivers. Turbin having a big night. BYU struggling through the air.
I think Robert Turbin is the best player on the field tonight. And a sellout of over 63,000 have seen him go for an 80-yard touchdown run and then a 24-yard screen pass for a touchdown. And this is Williams, and Williams gets to the outside, and Williams breaks free inside the 10. It'll be first and goal for Utah State.
It has been any number of running backs tonight with this running attack. Vinoy just gets moved out of the way completely with a great block.
False start, offense, number 66. 5-yard penalty, first down.
That's Schultz with the false start. It's going to push them back over 200 yards rushing tonight for Utah State.
They came in as the 5th best rushing attack in the nation, averaging 316 yards a game. Smith now as he gets it to the 6-yard line where it'll be second and goal.
And they opened up the season with more than 200 yards rushing against Auburn and actually should have won that game. They had Auburn beat until a late onside kick was recovered by Auburn.
Remember, Auburn needed that late rally, and then a week ago they went for 2 in overtime and lost to Colorado State. This is a team that feels they're just a couple plays away from 3-0. What a win this would be for them. Keaton keeps it himself, and he is met right away. He had nowhere to go because Hebron Fangupo was never sold on it.
BYU desperately trying to hold on and hold them to a field goal attempt here. A touchdown would almost be insurmountable for BYU the way their offense has struggled. Utah State 7 for 8 on their last third down.
Third and goal. Keaton met at the 5-yard line by Wagner and Fangupo. But margin is 8. They can push it to 2-possession game as they trot on with Josh Thompson, the sophomore place kicker. Has been off to a good start this year. 3 for 3 on the year. This just a 21-yarder. And he makes it an 11-point game. Could it be back-to-back years for the Aggies over BYU? Stay with us. The 80th meeting of this rivalry. For the recent years, BYU has dominated. Play action for Burrell. Airs it out downfield. Touchdown, Aggies! Cuts in with ease. Utah State just dominated straight through. And the Aggies have the win they've been waiting 17 years for. And now they may soon have the win that they've been waiting since 1978 for. Because that's the last time they won here at BYU. BYU needs a fourth-quarter rally, down 11. And they get a break here as the flag will come in after that kick by Josh Thompson, who's not known for having a lot of range and a big leg. He was kicking off.
You know, Gary Anderson's done a nice job at Utah State, and he coached with Urban Meyer at Utah back when they made their BCS Bowl appearance. And Urban told me that he knew early on that that man was going to be a really good head coach because he had the unique ability to push his players without losing their love and respect for him. That's a unique quality in a coach.
You know, when he took the job, he said, I took it because of the commitment of the university. He says they're committed to having a good football team here, and they are on their way. And now DeLuigi. as he gets it just across the 45.
Anderson is one of 11 former coaching colleagues of Urban Meyer who've gone on to become head coaches. That's a pretty good legacy.
New age coaching tree. Riley Nelson. And he's able to complete it. Took him a while, found a target. It was Brian Correa, and it's a first down to the Utah State 45.
Well, he has an ability to create with his feet that Heaps doesn't quite have.
They hurry to the line. Jake Heaps on the bench. Riley Nelson trying to spark a comeback. DiLuigi, good scene by DiLuigi. And he's down to the 31-yard line as he was tackled by McClinton.
This is a must-score drive for BYU. And we've seen it all night. This is the area where they start to struggle. Now, they can't back off. They have to be aggressive down here.
14-yard run by DiLuigi. Nelson is going to do it himself. And they push the pile forward close to another first down. They're playing with that aggressiveness now, Ron.
Yes, they are. And that quarterback run, the quarterback design run, is something they did not have in the package of plays with Heaps.
They pulled Heaps in the third. They brought in Riley Nelson, the one-time starting quarterback at Utah State, who transferred to BYU. 2nd and 1. Oh, he threw it low. Soft arm that. And that's the matchup you've been talking about all night, Rob.
They've had it all night. DiLuigi coming out of the backfield, man-to-man, matched up with that time Wagner, a linebacker. That is a big mismatch. They can't get enough of that one. They got to find it again.
So instead, it's 3rd and 1. They bring a blitz. Nelson makes it happen. He lost his helmet, but he was able to get by the oncoming pressure and get the first down.
How many helmets have we seen fly around tonight? They bring the pressure inside. You see Gallagher, 43, coming with Wagner. And Nelson does a good job of just finding his way to the left side. And now they're inside the red zone.
Nowhere to go that time. That was a good initial surge by Havaya Lasiki.
Yeah, well, you know, Utah State is saying, we understand that you've got the quarterback run as being part of this. You're not going to score on us by running the quarterback or running inside. You're going to have to throw the football. They bring the run blitz, covering each and every gap inside, overwhelming them. Bowden also getting in there.
So now it's a 2nd and 14.
It's like they may be backing off the man coverage.
Need to get to the 10-yard line. Pumps once, takes a shot. Touchdown! Cody Hoffman, spectacular catch.
He beats Robertson here. He got him in single coverage, made a great catch and got the right foot inbounds. You could see it clearly from that angle. And that's what we were talking about earlier. Having a wide receiver make a play to help out the quarterbacks. They weren't making catches like that when Heaps was in.
Riley Nelson galvanizes this team, this crowd, and they're right back in it.
ESPN's College Football Primetime is presented by Russell Athletic, who remind you that together we are, and in part by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun.
It is tailgate week, fired up by Kingsford Charcoal, and finally the BYU offense was cooking. They went 8 plays, 60 yards in just over 2.5 minutes, and the decision to replace Jake Heaps with Riley Nelson pays off. Williams is going to take this out. Only to the 15. Here's Ryan Burr. Thanks, Ryan. Well, pressure time for the freshman quarterback now. Chucky Keaton in Utah State. Smith. Good run by Michael Smith. Crossing midfield and finally pushed out inside the 35 by Corby Eason.
Here we go. There you see this. That's where they're working. They're working right there on Vanoy. Vanoy comes down, stays out for the quarterback. They give it inside. A good read by the freshman quarterback, Keaton.
Williams now just a gain of 2. That is the 3rd run this year by Michael Smith over 50 yards. He goes for 53 there.
Well, they have not used that play an awful lot tonight, but when they have, it's been effective.
281 rush yards on the night.
Wow. They do it to everyone.
5th best rushing team in the country. 2nd and 8 now. Williams again. About 2 yards that time as he's met by Daniel Sorensen. Listen to this.
I'm not sure who got the better of that one.
So now a big 3rd and 6. Crowd is roaring for a defensive stop here. Keaton swings it out of the backfield. Smith, and he's taken down. What a play by Kavinga.
Are you kidding me?
The transfer from USC came up big right there.
5'11", 236 pounds, out in the flat in open space with a guy who can really go. Smith, he sizes him up and throws at the right time for that upfield leg and gets both of them. That's a great play.
We talked about the range of Josh Thompson earlier. This could be stretching it, a 47-yarder, as long as 41. And it's a fake, and he's going to pass. And it's incomplete as Daniel Sorensen stayed with coverage of Taron Lloyd.
Lloyd, 88, is never open, but he's 6'7", so they believe he's always open, and Sorensen was there to defend the play.
You know, Sorensen's a big safety. He goes 6'2", 206, and he was right there with Taron Lloyd. So the gutsy call does not pay off, and now BYU is fired up. Nelson choosing his options. He goes with Correa, who goes up and over right near the sticks. Robertson and Alexander came in to undercut Correa, and he went airborne.
Well, Correa has done this the last couple of weeks, and Nelson has given this offense a shot in the arm.
Hurry up to the line again. 1st down at the 40. DeLuigi now. DeLuigi trying to get to the outside, and he cannot do it as Maurice Alexander was on top of him. Remember what has happened to Utah State this year. They had the lead against the defending national champs. They blew that. Colorado State, they had the lead. They lost in overtime. Tonight they were up 11 earlier in the 4th. Nelson on 2nd and 9. 1st down Cougars. Marcus Matthews. They're not going to give him that forward progress, Ron.
Oh, that's not a good call.
Looked like he was beyond the stick, and then he was pushed back.
I thought he caught that ball at the 50-yard line.
Nelson picks it up anyways.
How about the official trying to get out of the way?
The umpire was running out the side door. Look at this crowd. A sellout of over 63,000.
Well, moments ago, they were chanting Riley Nelson.
Jake Heaps, the starting quarterback, pulled. Riley Nelson, the former starter at Utah State, who transferred here to Provo, in. Design quarterback run. Here goes Nelson again, and a 9-yard gain.
No quarterback gets more love than the backup quarterback, especially when he comes in and performs.
Gives them a different dimension. Can do it on the ground. 2nd and 1 now. Did he bobble that? No. First down catch. Cody Hoffman. Cody Hoffman's come up big, hasn't he? And now the other official is coming in and saying, yes, indeed, he did bobble it. He never had possession. They'll likely take a look at.
After review, the ruling on the field is reversed to a catch. It will be BYU's ball at the 34-yard line. First down.
So the call reversed, meaning that there was indisputable video evidence proving that the call on the field was wrong.
And this is what we saw. The one-handed catch with the ball cradled against the face mask means he had control. He had possession. The ball was not moving.
Now what surprised me is that the line judge, who was right on top of it, said yes, a catch. And then the guy from 20 yards away came in to say incomplete. But I think they got it right. First down, BYU. DeLuigi now on first down. And he tries to power behind that offensive line to the 30. 5 minutes and a little bit of change as BYU tries to rally here. Remember, they have not lost to Utah State here at home since 1978.
Well, the matchup that has worked or been available to them has been DeLuigi out of the backfield when they put him in the slot or when they simply take him out of the backfield against man coverage, as Alexander is down now for Utah State.
Maurice Alexander is being tended to. He's had a good night. The outside linebacker for that Aggies defense. Let's take a look at some of the unlimited action coming up this weekend, brought to you by Sprint.
Robert Griffin, the third, road test, Kansas State. Ought to be a good one. He is hot. And then you look at that Clemson game. You know, they beat Auburn already, Florida State. If they beat Virginia Tech, I think they probably vault into the top 10.
It's a huge game. Sammy Watkins, the freshman receiver for them, has been sensational, hasn't he?
He's ridiculous. He's fantastic. And don't forget Taj Boyd. And he's played great at quarterback for Clemson. So I think if they win this game, I think they're moving up into the top 10.
We'll see what happens. Virginia Tech, of course, very talented themselves, with David Wilson at running back and Logan Thomas. And it's going to be a good one tomorrow on ESPN2 at 6. 2nd and 6 now for BYU. Correa lowers the pads and spins. It'll make for a 3rd and about 2 as Chris Harris had the tackle there. Remember, the starting strong safety, McCade Brady, was ejected in the first half of this game. So Chris Harris has had to fill in. There he is, number 10.
The ejection occurred because of a hit high above the shoulders. Launching, there's Brady. He was ejected early in the first quarter.
3rd and 2. DeLuigi is stacked up. Ball is loose. The ball is loose. And that was Chris Harris who jumped on it. So Utah State takes over.
The question is, Tess, was he down? Was he down? No. I don't think he was. Look for the knee. Is the knee down before the ball comes out? Ball is now out and he is still falling. If that is review, it will stand as a fumble. It was Harris who knocked the ball out. and recovered it.
And Turbin with a gain of 1. Boy, we were just talking about the role that Chris Harris has played tonight. How McCade Brady was ejected. Their strong safety, who was a track star here at BYU, then transferred to Utah State. And Chris Harris, a seldom used senior, comes in, plays big, and at that critical juncture gets the fumble recovery.
And if you're Utah State, it is your 4-minute offense. You need to run clock and pick up a couple of first downs.
DeLuigi just hit himself with his helmet. He's so frustrated.
I saw that.
Robert Turbin with a gain of 2. You know, the fullback Owen Schmidt at West Virginia used to do this to psych himself up, but this is a whole nother way about it. Look at this. Look at the frustration from DeLuigi.
You know, the first hit was enough, but then the second one looked like it was pretty hard, too.
Timeout, BYU. 3 minutes to go. Utah State looking to pull. Just the start of a good weekend here. 2 primetime games Saturday night on ESPN 2 and ESPN. First on ESPN 2 at 6 Eastern. Clemson, Virginia Tech, number 13, number 11. Then on ESPN at 8 Eastern, Notre Dame versus Purdue. That game also available on ESPN 3D.
Big third down here. Chucky Keaton has proven he can be trusted with the ball in his hands in tough situations.
Bronco Mendenhall's defense needs this stop desperately here. 3rd and 7. Freshman quarterback Chucky Keaton was on the road at Auburn week 1 and almost pulled it off. Now here at Provo looking for a big score. Turbin joins him in the backfield now. Keaton, nothing doing, tackled for a loss. BYU's defense steps up. It was Jamison Frazier, the senior, who met Keaton.
They brought the pressure. They don't normally blitz very often, but BYU brought the pressure. From the top of the screen, you see pressure coming. And they got there with it. And the timeout called by BYU.
And what a sigh of relief for J.J. DeLuigi. You see him there moments ago. You saw him smashing his forehead with his helmet. He fumbled and turned the ball over to Utah State. Utah State was in position to close things out. This was just moments ago when BYU was driving.
Yeah, Chris Harris comes in, the replacement safety, knocks the ball out, and also recovers it. That's one heck of a play, although DJ DeLuigi wasn't too thrilled about it.
So now 2:49 to go. And Tyler Bennett on to punt to J.D. Falslev. Bennett, 3rd best punter in the country for average. And I think he proved that big boot there. Look at this, inside the 10, still rolling inside the 5 to the 4.
You hate that you don't catch those things. Save your team 30 yards if you can get over and catch that.
67-yard punt.
He waves this off right away and then realizes, oh, you gotta catch that.
And he was at the 32.
Yep.
Instead, they have it at the 4. That's just a mental mistake on special teams that cost BYU field position now. It's over 2.5 minutes, and Riley Nelson, the backup quarterback who has sparked this offense, trying to make this comeback happen. Quarterback run. And he did get forward progress out past the 1.5-yard line, but Levi Koskin made a very good defensive play.
The Utah State mixing up what they're doing defensively, going back to zone and running a stunt inside, able to get pressure there with Koskin.
Nelson gets it complete. That is Marcus Matthews as they fight for the ball, but he was down just a few yards past the original line of scrimmage.
Now on this 3rd down test, Nelson's got to get a chance to throw the football into some windows. I don't expect Utah State to play man coverage or the blitz here. They've got him backed up. They want to make him earn it.
3rd and 6. Need to get out to the 14-yard line. Pressure from behind. It's going to be close. Looks like he got the good spot, and it should be a first down for BYU as Gallagher and Wagner came in, but a first down for Coach Mendenhall's team.
And now they'll have to speed it up. Clock is running, only one timeout. Long way to go. They need a touchdown.
Nelson. Complete out there to Jacobson.
Taking advantage of Utah State playing soft zone coverage right now. Utah State thinking about if you play man coverage, you don't have any help. If somebody slips down, you give up a big one.
Minute 15. Clock stopped. 2nd and 3. Quarterback run again. Remember, only one timeout. And here goes Riley Nelson. He was tripped up. He was in full sprint, and he was tripped up. But it is a first down as the clock will stop momentarily.
Nice
out
job.
To the 34.
Nice job of spreading them out.
Utah State defense still walking around. And now a timeout is called by Utah State. The Real Deal is brought to you by Wendy's. And that rushing offense of the Aggies all night long.
Yeah, and it really hasn't mattered whether it's Turbin, who started off with an 80-yard run, or if it was Keaton breaking out of the pocket. Sometimes it was Williams also getting something done, and Smith got involved as well. But Turbin's been the real guy on the night as they picked up 284 yards on the ground.
Real Deal brought to you by Wendy's. To vote for the Real Deal at ESPN.com. You can do it right on your mobile phone. 123 yards on 9 rushes for Turbin because he busted out an 80-yard touchdown run on the first play of the game. Now he's hoping that his defense can hold on to this thing.
Utah State burned the timeout. They had trouble getting their defense set. They were trying to substitute. They weren't set.
1978, the last time that Utah State won here at Provo. Heaps unable to connect with Correa, his running back coming out of the backfield. A reminder that Sports Center will follow this game. We'll talk about the baseball playoffs, the cancellation, get you ready for the weekend of college football, including game day up at Wisconsin for number 7 against number 8, Wisconsin and Nebraska. Nelson on 2nd and 10. Here comes pressure. Gets away from it. Launches it downfield. And it is caught. That was McCabe Jacobson. They got a shot here.
This is all Riley Nelson buying time, and Jacobson coming back to help him out, coming back to the ball.
Nelson, he's going to run it again. They only have one timeout left. First down. So the clock stops with 28 seconds to play, and they have the ball down to the 13.
Clock will run when they spot the ball, though. Clock is running.
They move the chains. The clock runs again.
Got to hurry up.
He needs to snap this ball.
I don't understand that. You know, they had a chance to just go ahead and down the ball and stop the clock and save 10 seconds there. You know, if you don't want to burn your timeout, that's okay. You just line up and spike the ball and save 10 more seconds. You got to do a better job of clock management right there.
Those looks say it all. Watch the clock. We're going to show you this at the conclusion of the last play. So Nelson goes forward. And they stop it at 28 because of the first down just for a moment. But
line
then
up and
he
spike
has to realize, Rod.
Line up and spike it.
Right.
That's what you need to do right there. They're not aware of it. They're confused. And now they lose 10, 11 seconds that they can't get back. And they have to burn a timeout. And they lost about 15 to 20 seconds on that. They have enough time for 2 shots at the end zone, maybe a third.
BYU still has the timeout. Utah State just burned one. They bring pressure. Nelson over the middle. Oh, he was caught on the deflection. Marcus Matthews. Right place, right time, right away. Can you believe that?
Holding. Defense, number 17. Penalty is declined. The result of the play. Touchdown.
You can add that to the reel of outrageous Friday night finishes. It happens again, this time capping a 96-yard drive.
But Will Davis on the coverage, 17, middle of your screen. Watch him do a nice job knocking the ball away, but look who's there. Marcus Matthews, right place for the deflection. And that's a good defensive play by Davis, but it just so happened that Matthews was running along the middle to the back of the end zone and got the deflection.
Holding call came on Davis as he batted away. And Marcus Matthews.
Davis was in there to play single coverage on DeLuigi.
Story of the night is Riley Nelson. And Jake Heaps celebrating for the man who replaced him here in the second half. And Gary Anderson, the Utah State head coach, just fold those arms.
Wow.
What are you to do?
He's had a rough deal with late collapses, tough losses for Utah State to start this season.
And they squib it, and the ball comes loose and goes out, leaving 8 seconds. What heartbreak it's been all year long for Utah State as only 8 seconds remain. Remember, opening week against the defending national champions, they had the lead. They blew it. Last week, Colorado State in overtime, a failed 2-point conversion. And here against their in-state rivals, up 11 in the fourth quarter. And now this.
Not only up, but in the last drive, they had them backed up to their own 4-yard line. And then got a sack on the first play.
Keaton just airs it out. And it falls incomplete. They thought they had it. They waited 33 years. BYU hasn't lost to Utah State at home since 1978. And it took a miracle finish to pull it off tonight. Absolutely outrageous. The deflected ball into the end zone and into the hands of Marcus Matthews with only 11 seconds to play.
That man, Riley Nelson, changed the game.
And what a story. Riley Nelson, who was the starting quarterback at Utah State his freshman year. His grandfather was the athletic director at Utah State. He went on an LDS mission after his freshman year. He came back and he transferred to BYU, was sitting on the bench, got the call in the second half, and rallied the troops.
On that game-winning drive, Nelson was 4 of 5 for 66 yards passing and a touchdown, and ran it 4 times for 30 yards. He accounted for every one of the 96 yards BYU got on that drive.
It's not often you see a crowd storm the field for an opponent that you've dominated. But the way this one ended, and knowing what happened a year ago, enjoy it, Cougar fans. Let's take another look at how they did it.
Will Davis, Nelson's trying to get it to DeLuigi. He knocks it away. He's thinking good play. And there's Marcus Matthews.
As Nelson jumps into the arms of their star left tackle, Matt Reynolds. And Gary Anderson. That is a head scratcher, isn't it? A sellout at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. They're going to be celebrating in Provo. Miracle finish. Spectacular play by Riley Nelson on that last drive of 96 yards and the touchdown to Matthews. 27-24, BYU takes it. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, you can log on to ESPN.com. For Ron Gilmore and our entire crew, I'm Joe Tessitore. Enjoy the rest of your night, including SportsCenter right now.